Greetings and salutations, fellow goat enthusiasts. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast, and today we're talking about another top 5 list.
Yep.
I'm going to keep the suspense going here because you guys can't see the title of this podcast or the thumbnail art.
Or you've made it a mystery and just a million question marks.
Oh, I have that power.
To be perfectly frank, I'm not sure which one we're recording right now, so it's a surprise to me, at least.
Every show does this. Like, either they do it naturally and build up the suspense, or they lampshade it. And I don't understand why. No one understands why.
You can see the thumbnail.
We know this.
It's so pointless.
It's why you came here.
Unless you have a clickbait title where the thumbnail, where the title says nothing. Like, you won't believe this weird list. Volume 5.
Picture of a fucking...
Picture of my face going, oh, with a red circle around it and a line.
Anyway. You can buy all of my books in the links in the description. The most recent one came out not that long ago, and it's pretty good. A great jumping on point if you don't feel like reading 4 other books. Or spending that much money.
I'd recommend reading the other books, but it is a great jumping on point, and I really like it, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's like a nice... I would say it's better than the first book as a starting point, unless you plan on reading them all anyway.
Yep.
You can also go down there and subscribe to that Patreon. Make me some money. I do stuff on Twitch, too. I think I linked that in the description. If not, it's twitch.tv/WhiteRaven. Big fucking surprise. It's either that or Minister Whitey.
Depending on your whim that day.
Well, it depends on the availability. Because fucking D&D game.
He's so mad about that.
I will always be mad about that. But, like, if you get there and the person there is like, it doesn't sound like me, you've not found me. If it's not my fucking possum-ass face everywhere, it's not me. Try again. Anyway, if you sub to the Patreon, you can be cool like Rob, whose name I briefly forgot was not Mike? But it's Rob. I am drugs.
We are stone cold sober recording this podcast.
No, yeah,
that very clear.
This is I had an eyelash situation that lasted for like a fucking hour.
It's rattled this kid.
It's taken its toll on me. Today, our top 5 list that we're talking about is...
We are counting up.
What are we counting up?
Nope. Looks like that is...
Smug bastard. I wish I could have the old man squint he just did. Leans forward, narrows eyes. What is that? Is that some fucking... yeah. We're talking about our top 5 favorite Bat Family DC heroes. Not including Bruce Wayne, because, come on, he's number 1.
He slots in slot 0. It's just, if we had him as eligible... then the number 1 would not be a surprise. It's clearly Bruce.
It's not really much worth talking about. And we've both talked long and loud about Batman on this channel.
We're giving some space to other people. Batman can go, Bruce Wayne can go firmly into slot 0, as he so rightfully belongs. He is the progenitor from which all this springs, in terms of, Bat family characters. So, we're just going to skip him.
Yep.
If you want to hear us talk about Bruce Wayne, there's a billion other podcasts we've made that do that. Let's talk about some other people.
All right. So, I suppose the first question is, why do you separate out Bat Family from the rest of DC? We did not talk about this, I don't believe, in the other DC podcast.
We did not. We mentioned we would talk about it here.
Yeah. For me... it's 2 things, and you feel free to jump in as needed here. I feel like when we talk Batman, I'm the one who's usually quieter. So
yeah, go for it.
First of all, Batman feels different from most of the rest of DC.
Yeah, very tonally different.
Yes. When I was a comics fan, and in general, like I'm trying to get more into DC these days, but in general, I like Marvel. I just like their whole vibe more. But even when I was a kid, I liked Marvel and Batman.
Because Batman, while Bruce himself might not qualify for this, Gotham is the most Marvel of the DC cities. Shit is just always bad there.
Well, and it just tells more human stories than I am a pariah of justice. A pariah. I am a...
Bizarro talking?
Yeah, I guess.
Bizarro and pariah of justice.
I am a paragon of justice, and I'm going to fight these bad guys with guns. Oh, you silly bad guys, I ungunned you. Which back in the day was kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking about... Fucking comics have changed a lot since the late 70s. When I was a child.
He is a mercurial eternal being. When he was a child, will change rapidly throughout the podcast.
At age 6, I was born without a face.
There you go.
That's reason 1. Reason 2 is I feel like more than any other hero, Batman, Gotham, and the other characters created within that world inform the rest of the characters within that world. One might make an argument for, like, the Lantern Corps, but, like, that theming came way the fuck later.
Yeah, way later. And it's really cool, but way later.
Yeah, I mean, and, like, as we've gotten better as writers of comics, we as a society, you see more of that, where Superman's nemesis prey more on who Superman is, or Wonder Woman's, or whatever, and aren't just, I don't know, what would be a cool thing for them to fight? What's cool for Flash to fight? Monkey. He fight a monkey.
That is a cool thing for Flash to fight, so, I mean...
What's a cool thing for Superman to fight? Fuck if I know. Give him a Flash villain.
Look, it's just fucking pick big thing, make punch. There we go. Yeah, basically, for me, it's the same. It's the tonal differentiation. It's the amount of consistency that Gotham tends to have. It's its own thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And a big part of it is I wanted to give other DC properties space on my list.
That can be kind of a problem with it too. We didn't want to do top 10 lists just because going through these take long enough on their own anyhow.
And I don't really think in rankings so much anymore, so trying to fucking rank out the 10 when half of them are going to be Batman characters is just going to... No, just make 2 separate lists. It's more fun.
Well, and like, I still had some hemming and hawing. I made some changes just before this podcast. Just slot order, but, you know.
I didn't.
No, you're fine. So let's go ahead and get into this. Let's start with your number 5 on Bat Family heroes, not including Bruce Wayne.
All right. My number 5 is the gentleman's gentleman, Batman's Batman, Mr. Alfred Pennyworth. And it's really just because of the consistency with which every iteration of Alfred is portrayed. I have never seen an iteration of Alfred who wasn't absolutely a shit. Like, refined sometimes, more down-to-earth and sort of rounded-edged sometimes, largely the Dark Knight trilogy. Michael Caine took it a different direction. But always absolute sass king of Gotham. There's a comic panel that I believe is... it may have also been an adaptation of a Batman the Animated Series skit that is absolutely Alfred distilled for me, which is Alfred walks up with a cloche on a tray for Batman, and as he's walking up, Bruce says, "No dinner tonight, Alfred. I'm too busy working on this case." To which Alfred goes, "Oh dear, and I'd made your favorite. Well, I'll just throw it away." He opens the cloche, on which nothing is on the tray, dumps the nothing into the waste paper basket, puts the cloche back down, turns right around and leaves. And it's perfect, because Bruce can't even see that.
This is all for Alfred.
This is for him. Also, he uses a shotgun, and that's great.
Yeah.
What about yourself, sir? What's your number 5?
My number 5 is the Thomas Wayne Batman. I don't give a shit about regular Thomas Wayne, rich-ass dad who died. No one fucking cares.
Sometimes he's the comedian. That's helpful.
I really like... You guys will see this in my Villains podcast, actually, too. The counterpoint to this one. But I like this alternative take of Batman. I like alternate takes of Batman. You are so fond of saying there are no bad Spider-Men, and I think that it's kind of similar with Batman, except that every fracture of that mirror, every, dark change or even light is interesting. I'm not super fond of Batmite, but it's curious.
I can't say I agree, actually. For me, the rule there all Spider-Men are good Spider-Men does not translate. There are bad Batman. Like, there are Batmen who I find turbo cringe. Like, the Batman Who Laughs, for instance. He's got a great look, but I do not care for the story.
I mean, it's alright. Like, he's like from a weird dimension. Whatever.
The dark universe or some bullshit, yeah.
I mean, I think it's... God, I hope it's satire in and of itself.
One hopes, but one cannot trust.
Yeah,
But Thomas Wayne Batman is a bright spot in an otherwise dismal experience.
I also love the comic series where they have gotten to interact. Because it's exactly like what would happen if Boba Fett and Jango Fett had to go on a mission together.
Yeah, it's good shit because it allows for the usage of what an excellent mirror and thematic weight Thomas Wayne as Batman is.
Right.
Like, that's the reason it's one of the bright spots in material that I have made it very clear on this podcast previously I am otherwise very unfond of. Because he is it's the good version of what Flashpoint tried to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's, here is Batman. He has more honor. He wasn't driven as darkly. He's got his rules. And his dad, the man he looked up to all his life and made his entire identity based around the death of, and his mom, but she's not part of this story. And he's better than his father. And he knows it.
Yeah, on account, like, completely, like, 100% across the board, his dad is a worse person.
Yeah.
And
he took this harder. And it's just the tension and the drama in between those two, while they are still kicking ass together, it's good shit.
I totally agree.
What about your number 4, my friend?
My number 4 is another one of Bruce's direct supporting characters who, nevertheless, has branched out across, the breadth of comics from having his own comics to being Batman for a little while. Jim Gordon. Commissioner Jim Gordon, he of the floppy hairpiece and fucking cool old school detective coat. He's just a good dude. He's just trying his best in a situation that is otherwise very shitty. The one straight cop in Gotham. And he makes such a shining example that he creates amazing characters, like, by reference. If you see someone... If there's, like, a shining, uncorruptible, cool police commissioner in fiction, it's going to be either based on this guy or the guy from fucking Dragnet. So... Like, it's just really good stuff. And he makes an excellent supporting character. I'm not as amazingly fond of him as a main character of stuff, but he makes an amazing supporting character and an amazing bridge back to the police for the various members of the Bat family, which is an important tension, I feel. If you completely disregard the Gotham PD, the story loses something.
Yeah. I think mentioning that he's a fantastic supporting character, that really bridges into what I was about to say about him myself. He's not on my list, but I also wouldn't put Gotham on my list. However, it is incredibly important to Batman stories, both visually in terms of architecture and...
It very much is a character.
Yeah, definitely. And Jim Gordon, I feel, is exactly as important. He needs to be there. He is a cornerstone of the comic.
Well, what's the terms from Pacific Rim? Stacker Pentecost says that his people should regard him as a fixed point.
Yeah.
Jim Gordon is a fixed point.
And he's great.
Yeah, and also he is just great. And he takes Batman disappearing on him way more often than is necessary. Pretty well, all things considered.
It's kind of fascinating that you mentioned that. Gordon as a fixed point. He is the line. Everything is either above Gordon or below him.
Right.
You can measure the Gotham you're into by the Gordon you get. I recently started watching the Harley Quinn series, And the Gordon in that is, post the death of his daughter, cracked out of his fucking mind. And that's kind of a good watermark for where things are going.
Yeah, that's a great watermark for how one should take whether they should watch that series.
I haven't watched all of it yet. Well, the 2 seasons that exist, but Discount Venture Brothers is about where
I mean, look, that's an alright thing to aim to be.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Hey, Venture Brothers is really good. If you're a discount of that, you're probably at least...
You're probably pretty good, yeah.
But moving on, my number 4 is Alfred Pennyworth. Similar reasons you mentioned. Yeah, the Sass Master, that's good. I love all of the alternate interpretation. Well, not all, but most of the alternate interpretations of him as well.
That one where he's the Joker's pretty keen.
I love it. I love it because it's that fanatical dedication to supporting Bruce. That, that one bad day mentality toward, I've made a stupid decision, but it's for him. He needs this.
Yeah, that's another aspect of the character I love, is that he's Bruce's dad.
Yeah, yeah.
More than Thomas Wayne ever got a chance to be.
Right.
He's Bruce Wayne's dad. And he's a reserved and stuffy and British dad, so there's not a lot of hugs, but he is still his dad.
Yeah, basically everything you said and added on top of it. Just, I think he's a classy character. I like it when he defends himself. I like
how surprised villains always are when he shoots them.
Yeah. I like it when villains beat the shit out of him, because he's one of those figures that you don't do that.
Yeah, that makes it real. That's too far, fucker.
Yeah.
I like it when I like it when villains, when he gets beaten down by a villain, because it's not like he's soft.
No.
Not only is it, all right, you've taken things too far, but it's, okay, we should be threatened by this person. Alfred's a hard motherfucker. This is someone you should take seriously.
I mean, that's the entire drama of the big comic in Breaking the Bat. Like, God damn, at this point, if you guys have never read that comic, just that one, do yourselves a favor.
I'd suggest reading maybe a couple of the ones leading up to it, because there is a build.
There is, but if you just open on that one, it is the most terrifying home invasion of the hardest motherfucker you know, and a harder motherfucker comes and ruins his life.
In 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then walks away. Doesn't even gloat. Just leaves. This was literally the meme, this is Tuesday for me.
Yeah. And Alfred is a part of that whole exchange as well. But yeah, not too much more to say about that. Let's roll to your number 3, my friend.
My number 3 is... I have Tim Drake listed here, because I love Robin as a character, and to me, that's Tim Drake. At this point in my life, Nightwing is Nightwing. He's Dick Grayson. He's got his own thing. He has his own comic. He's had it for longer than I've been alive. And when he was Robin, he was a very different Robin to the Robin that I like. So that's not who I think of when I think Robin. To me, Jason Todd isn't Robin. He's Red Hood. Or dead. Tim Drake is who I think of when I think of Robin the Boy Wonder. And so, that's who I have there, because I love that character. He makes an excellent counterpoint to Batman. His very existence says interesting things about Batman as a character. And more to the point, I like Tim Drake specifically as a character because he's not traumatized. He's pretty okay, all things considered.
Yeah, he's got his shit together.
He's a really good detective, and he wants to do the right thing, but it's not like Dick Grayson or Jason Todd. He's not doing the right thing in a weird mirror of Bruce's story, or doing the right thing because, well, when you get caught stealing the hubcaps off the Batmobile, Batman pretty much runs your life from that point on. He's doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and he's got that urge, and he doesn't let the scary parts of it stop him from being that person. And that's really inspiring, especially to the group of people Tim Drake is meant to inspire. And that makes him a really useful character. As he ages up and becomes an adult, I'm less fond of the character because it seems like a lot of the people who are writing him lose track of what he's supposed to be, the person he's supposed to be. Red Robin is a much more dour dude than I feel like Tim Drake probably should have grown up to be. Even in Gotham, not everyone's a sad sack. But, like, peak Tim Drake, Robin, and I know it's never really said, but to me, he's the Robin from Teen Titans. He's the Robin from Young Justice, although that is canonically Dick, I think. Yes, it is, because he shows up as Robin in a later season, so that's fair. But, he's the one I think when I think Robin, so he gets all of that good, brain in my head, the fondness, it all goes to Tim Drake. Who's your number 3?
My number 3 is spoiler, as in Stephanie Brown. Not as in, I'm not going to tell you guys because it might constitute you knowing something.
How often do you think she makes this joke?
God, if I were her all the time.
Yep.
Which, I think she's Batgirl now, but whatever.
She was Robin for, a minute.
Yeah.
Bruce didn't take that well for some reason.
She was a lot of things for, a minute. I am not super fond of the places her story has gone, but the attitude of the character, her own determination, the very fuck it, I'll do it myself nature. Because her origin story is outwitting her dad, the Clue Master, and fucking over his life.
Oh, you mean Discount Riddler? Yeah.
Yes. Not even Discount Riddler.
He's like Kmart Riddler, yeah.
He's like Dollar Store Riddler. You know how, you go to...
And in-universe. And that's my favorite part of the Clue Master is everyone in-universe regards him as, shitty Riddler.
Yeah. But still, she was like, hey, Dad, stop being a supervillain. You suck at it. Also, the trauma and whatnot.
It's an interesting story. The character, I'm not super familiar with them, in use. I haven't seen a lot of Stephanie Brown comics.
And that's the stuff I like about her, is because she's got a good attitude. She's very much... She's got big Mary Jane energy. Speaking of Mary Jane Watson, Spider-Man's often lady friend. Not quite as aggressively sexy,
but
because they were made in different times.
Right. But later and Mary Jane, just no nonsense, very, very driven, very snarky.
Yeah, I got that wry attitude to her. She's capable. She knows what she's doing, and the spoiler costume's a good look. And
I mean, I can't argue with that. It is. I feel like she's been done fairly dirty by the people who write comics.
Oh, I agree. She got...
But I will be whining about that long enough here in a couple points. So...
Who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Barbara Gordon. I list Barbara Gordon because I like Batgirl, and I like the story Batgirl has. And I like Oracle. I have, over the years, kind of... not soured, but... the shine has come off the apple on the story that takes her from Batgirl to Oracle. But I love both characters. I think they're both very interesting. I think Batgirl is a great look at someone who doesn't really think their decisions through and is very talented, but maybe is not someone who should be trusted to make all their own calls quite yet. Thrust into a situation beyond their skill level and then rising to meet it, as opposed to failing. That's a really cool story. I love Oracle because Oracle is, one, an excellent, empowering take on people with physical disabilities, and that's always nice. But more importantly, she's an excellent take on a character who had basically their whole identity stripped from them and then forged a new, stronger identity from the ashes. And that is really cool.
Yeah, I like Oracle too.
But who I really have a whole lot to elaborate on.
Yeah, I feel like out of a lot of people on this list, Barbara Gordon's a pretty well-known person.
You know who Oracle is.
Yeah.
She's the voice. She's the guy in the chair. Who's your number 2?
My number 2 is actually Tim Drake. I have in parentheses here Robin because I don't think I like the Red Robin persona as much either. But you said a lot of things, and I wanted to keep my mouth shut and wait until now to talk about them.
I was wondering why you didn't talk.
Well, because you bring up an interesting point. A couple of interesting points. First of all, I think Tim Drake is the Robin. Not the boy wonder, but the teenager that people of our generation and later are more familiar with. Honestly, later generations probably think of Damien, but It's
Damien's on either of our list. He doesn't get to be on the list. Go away. Go away, Damien. Go away. Spritz, spritz, spritz.
I like him in Injustice, but that's the only place. But yeah, I think Tim is that icon. So much that, like, you say, oh, I think he was the one in Young Justice.
And then I immediately correct myself, but it was still my first thought.
Well, because that's who he's acting like. He's not acting like Dick.
No, he's acting way too wry and smarmy for Dick. Dick was up. Dick was a circus performer in fairy shorts, man. He was a very hyper kid.
Sure, but even when you get up to teenager Dick, around the age that, the modern Robin is, you get broody and sullen and upset.
Because he's very mad at Batman.
Sure, and his life in general. And that's not the Robin I like. I like the Robin who's down. He's here to do the hero stuff. He's having a good fucking time
with the bow staff.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. That's the other the reason it confuses me. Tim, in most modern stuff, Dick uses eskrima sticks. Tim is the one who uses a bow staff, and the one in Young Justice used a bow staff, and it confused me.
I mean, that's just writers grabbing from all directions. But, like, as time has gone on, people have used Tim in sort of a season 1 Sam Winchester vibe. Spider-Man tired of the hero gig thing.
And that's not... That doesn't make sense.
That's just Dick.
That's just Dick Grayson. That's actually, fun fact, one of the very few things I really dislike about a movie I really like, which is Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. In that movie, the only Robin we see is Tim. Because Terry McGinnis, the Batman in the movie, is trying to investigate to see where the Joker came back from. From where? And you see Tim Drake, and he's an electrical engineer, and makes it clear that he doesn't want to talk to Batman. He's done being a hero, and I'm the nice one. You don't want to talk to the other two, I think is the explicit line. And spoilers for this very old movie that you're never going to watch. Tim Drake. I've seen it. Yeah, Tim Drake is the Joker, because he had that that version of Tim Drake, the one who did go through that very traumatic experience. I could see leaving the hero work behind, but the one in comics hasn't had that happen to him, so it's just a weird. I think it's like a weird artifact of like mimetic mutation into the character that doesn't make sense given his character in comics.
The worst things that have happened to Tim are like the hundreds of times that Stephanie Brown has died.
Which, to be fair, very bad for Tim. Worse for Stephanie, arguably.
Sure.
But...
but like his reaction to it, like, you don't need another Dick. Use the one you've got.
Yeah, and Dick has grown up to be a fairly well-adjusted dude who's mostly over his problems, but still doesn't talk to Bruce a whole lot.
Well, and in that sense, if you want somebody who's doing vigilante work who doesn't want to talk to Bruce Wayne, there's a Jason Todd right there.
Yeah, like, it's just, you're giving Tim Drake parts of a character you don't need him to fill. There are other characters who do it better.
Yeah.
And so, go back, return to the thing that made that character fun to read, and try and maybe get through to that, because that's the version both of us like, I feel like.
Yeah, he wants to be a hero, and he's good at it, and that's what I love about him. He's eager, enthusiastic, and he is still kind of trying to live his life. You get that Spider-Man, I'm also a teenager who, I gotta worry about college applications and stuff, and I fight crime at night, yeah. But, like, it doesn't cause weird, over-dramatic shit like some of the others.
Gotham can be a meat grinder, but it doesn't need to grind everybody.
Exactly. So we have honorable mentions, because we always have honorable mentions, although there's a lot fewer this time around. Who are yours?
I tried to keep mine very limited, because... well, we'd be here all day.
I'll shotgun through them. I don't care.
For me, Red Hood, Tim Drake. I really like Tim Drake. Jason Todd. I really like Red Hood as like a vigilante. I love the Red Hood story arc that comes from him first showing up. I also like him as a vigilante, as someone who is still trying to do the right thing, but just doesn't exactly have the same standards as the people who raised him anymore.
I tried to do the right thing the right way, and I died. So now we're going to make them die.
Yeah, we're going to do the right thing the expedient way now. And also, he's got a fucking killer look. And then Zatanna. Because Zatanna is cool as fuck. Zatanna has a fun gimmick as like a magician and a fun gimmick to how her magic works. Her comics are usually fun, and whenever she shows up, she's usually like fun to be around. A relatively normal person who also happens to be a superhero. She's on this list because she hangs out with the Bat Crew a lot and lives in Gotham.
Mine are the Creeper. I think it's a really cool... I don't know, it's like a combination between, like, Venom and the Joker, but for some reason they're a good guy.
And also Deadpool.
Yeah, a little bit Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool.
He's got the medium awareness.
Sure. I don't know. Like, he's very, very side ancillary, but out of all of the Bat Family heroes, that one stands out to me as someone I'm like, yeah, the Creeper. I have to mention Wayne Williams, Stan Lee's Batman.
Yes.
I just think it's cool.
He literally has to mention that. Contractually, every time we talk about Batman for long enough, he has to mention Wayne Williams.
If you sign these documents, I'll let you do your impersonation as much as you want, but you need to push Wayne Williams. I thought it was a good idea.
And that's why.
And that's why. No, I think he's really cool. Just it's a really interesting alternate take on Batman that I'm sad that we haven't explored more. In the era where people look at things I liked from old times and go, what if we actually made Squirrel Girl a thing?
Yeah.
And lastly, speaking of things I'm interested in, Tim Fox. Haven't seen anything of him yet, because as of this podcast, he's not in comics.
But a good look.
It's a good look.
It's a good look. It's a cool character. It's a cool idea. But that bat suit is fucking sleek, though.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where this is going, and I hope I don't regret these words in a year's time.
I got reservations, but I've looked into it. I'm hopeful. And that's a good fucking look, and a good look can carry a long way. Hey, speaking of, who's your number one?
Do you not want to talk about yours first?
I can't not take that segue.
It's a good segue. Yeah, mine will be more brief anyway. You guys have been around the block with us for a while. It's Jean-Paul Vallée, the Night Quest Batman. I talked about it at the beginning with Thomas Wayne. I love contrast to Batman. I love that the Broken Batman arc saw someone else rise up and be Batman, and guess what? It's Crazy the Punisher.
Crazy the Punisher in a mech suit.
Yeah, and Bruce Wayne is somewhere in his wheelchair holding his head in his hands going, I can't believe I thought this was a good idea.
This is why I don't trust anybody else with the cowl anymore. I gave it to one other person and he drove it like a rented Ferrari.
But, like, I loved that contrast. Like, I loved how much it shows how Gotham needs Batman specifically. Someone who is more brutally efficient only causes greater problems. And, I mean, like, all that aside, dude, it's a really fucking cool costume.
A cool look will take you a long way.
He shoots batarangs out of his gauntlets and, like, just does all kinds of cool shit, and he's scary and all that good stuff. Like,
I fucking, look, as much as I love to humorously shit on Jean-Paul Vallée, I do like Azrael, but humorously shit on him as Batman. That's a really cool look. I love the fucking horn thingies on the cape. Hell and the like the weird like Power Rangers thing he has on his chest. It's just it's a look, man. It is a look.
But it's the character I like. I mean I like Azrael too, don't get me wrong. I just find his tenure as Batman more interesting ultimately.
I mean, you're right. It serves as an excellent counterpoint.
It's good wrestling booking.
It's very good wrestling booking. I happened to miss it at the time.
Like, I was in it. So
so it doesn't have that for me.
Yeah. It's fucking Bane goes over Batman. Jean-Paul puts on the cowl, comes back, goes over Bane hard because he's cheating because he pulled a chair out from under the ring wrapped in barbed wire that's on fire and just beats the shit out of Bane with it and says bad things about his mother at the same time. And then Batman's like, that's Rudo, bro. We're Technico in this family.
And he has to come and put down the law. I mean, yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. All right, talk forever. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee.
No. All right, I'm going to try and keep it briefish. My favorite Batman character, aside from Bruce himself, is Cassandra Cain, Batgirl. I like the character a lot. The character has been done so fucking dirty. Not just by the Harley Quinn movie. That is the latest in a series of fucking executive meddling ass just character assassinations that this fucking poor character has been through. This woman has more character assassins after her than in the whole League of Shadows. But the original core of the character. So I basically DC Weapon X. DC X-23. But just a character who has a very specific problem she has to get over. She doesn't know how to talk. She knows how to communicate through body language, which makes her a better martial artist than even Batman. The deadliest martial artist in the DC universe, better than Lady Shiva. But she has a very specific problem in that she's been trained to be an assassin, so she's working with Batman to become a better person and to try and get over her limitations. That is a cool fucking character. Will you please stop making her evil suddenly, or making her evil suddenly, or making her a completely replaceable NPC who should have been named anything else suddenly? Will you just let this amazing character arc and fucking, again, really cool costume shine? Please.
I can't argue with that. I'm not as fond of Cassandra Cain. I mean, it's a good character, but, like, I don't have the attachment, I guess. But it's comic writers in general. It's DC writers especially. It's Batman writers double especially. You take a good character concept and then you just put it in a shredder.
And that didn't need to be done. It didn't add anything to the universe.
No, it's just stuff that gets pulled for good ending splash pages at the end of a event comic. It's not it's never done for the sake of a good story. It's done for the sake of, selling comic books or a gotcha moment. Creating buzz on the internet. But what is it you like the most about Cassandra Cain?
The thing I like the most about Cassandra Cain is actually usually her internal monologue in comics where she's the point of view character. Okay. Because it's very forthright. Yeah. It's not just mechanical. She's not just a robot. She has, she's usually brought through with emotions and struggles, but she's very forthright and blunt. And it provides an interesting look at how outsiders, because in a large amount of the comics I read, she was kind of still an outsider, view characters like Nightwing and Batman and Red Hood and shit like that. It's very interesting. I, again, also really like the fucking costume. There's a lot to be said for a good look. But I like the overall story that's available to be told there, even if so many comics writers seem just determined to never try.
I like to end these on a good note, but
I'm mad. I'm big mad about this one. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I respect it. There's not really a better way to spin that. Like, let's have hope for the future. Well, they already fucked her up in the cinematic universe, so
that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. Well.
You know what? Give it 2 more reboots. They'll get to it.
They don't even reboot anymore. They're just like, yeah, it's different now. Shut up. You guys are making 2 Batman movies at once? Yeah, fuck you. You'll buy the ticket. You'll watch the movie.
We recently got the HBO whatever, and it is very clear, because they have all the DC properties. I'm going to say this. This is perhaps controversial at the end of our favorite Batman Heroes podcast. Maybe take some of these heroes and give them a movie. Because Bruce, I think, maybe has enough. He's got 70 or something. It's like 2 rows of, long rows of movies that are just Batman. Just Bruce Wayne movies. There's so many other cool characters in this universe. Any one of them would be fine. You know what? Make a cool Cassandra Cain movie. Make a cool Cassandra Cain movie. Oh, what? She's already a character in Harley Quinn? Who gives a shit? You clearly don't. Do it! Do it! I dare you! There. That's positive-ish.
Yeah. Take that, Detective Comics.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it. Fuck it!